Organized labor is taking center stage at this year's Democratic National Convention just up the road in Chicago. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Wednesday, August 21st. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with the McLean County State's Attorney, who 4 times declined to pursue charges against Matthew Moore for violating orders of protection leading up to the killing of his ex-wife, Amy. WGLT's Lauren Warnicki reports.
Police reports obtained by WGLT under the Freedom of Information Act show a documented pattern of escalating behavior by Matthew Moore that started online. Over a 2-year period, officers referred 4 possible protective order violations to the state's attorney's office. The 4th was related to an incident in which Matthew Moore slashed a vehicle tires belonging to Amy Moore and a relative. Illinois State University professor Dawn Buechner-Thomas has expertise in domestic violence. She says repeated offenses that are not prosecuted can embolden an offender.
Typically, when we look at toxic relationships, abusers tend to escalate over time.
Matthew Moore pleaded guilty to criminal property damage for the tire slashing and was sentenced to probation.
In this particular case, if you have proof that for 4 consecutive times an order was violated and nothing was done of it, there's enormous cause for concern that we've set things up in a way that the victim was unprotected.
Close to 300 long-term orders of protection were in effect last year in McLean County. State's Attorney Erica Reynolds has declined to answer WGLT questions, saying she first wants to speak with the family of Amy Moore. For The Leadoff, I'm Lauren Warnicki.
Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. McLean County's Mental Health Advisory Committee is proposing that the county set aside $1.5 million for new community mental health initiatives next year. That money comes from a shared Bloomington and Normal sales tax fund. One of Rivian's top executives is leaving. Vice President of Manufacturing Tim Fallon is leaving to take over North America manufacturing operations at Stellantis. That's according to multiple media reports. The lawsuit filed by 7 Illinois State University students has moved to federal court. The Illinois Attorney General's office requested that change of venue last week on behalf of the university. The students claim that ISU infringed on their First Amendment rights during a pro-Palestinian protest in May. Authorities have identified the 2 young men killed in a crash near El Paso over the weekend. They were 26-year-old driver Rogelio Rivera Lozada and 23-year-old Lazaro de la Luz Hernandez from Secor. The Woodford County Sheriff's Office and coroner are investigating. And the Grammy-nominated power duo scheduled to kick off the Bloomington Center for the Performing Arts fall season is canceled. The Warren Treaty scrapped their planned stop in Bloomington on August 25th, citing a schedule change for the cancellation. Tickets will be refunded. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. Organized labor is taking center stage at this year's Democratic National Convention. National leaders from large unions are rallying for protecting workers' rights and bringing manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. And it's been a topic of discussion for many Illinois delegates and elected officials who are looking to use unions as a way to attract swing voters in surrounding states. In this conversation with WBEZ's Melba Lara, reporter Mao Iqbal talks through what the labor movement means for this DNC.
So the main theme is about protecting workers' rights, and they're advocating for these protections through strong unions who are then advocating for fair wages, adequate working conditions, paid time off, and the ability to retire with dignity. But also economic security for working class families has been a big theme too, right? They're thinking about this through increasing access to affordable childcare and good paying jobs. There's a big emphasis on bringing manufacturing jobs back to the Midwest and other former Rust Belt states. And ideally, they say, building back up the middle class in this way.
Illinois, of course, has a strong history of union representation, but what does this representation look like now, currently, in the state?
Yeah, so I covered the Illinois legislature down in Springfield, and basically I hear lawmakers, especially Democratic ones, like constantly talking about ways to strengthen the state's labor laws. Just one example from this past spring legislative session was when they passed a law making it illegal for employers to discipline employees for refusing to sit in on what are called captive audience meetings, where employers basically bring in a guest to discuss their political or religious positions. The governor also recently signed a bill meant to further crack down on child labor, and another one that recently went into effect aims to protect child influencers, so children who gain income from appearing in social media videos and things like that.
You know, we're about less than 100 days from the November elections, Mawa. What are local union reps then doing about this campaign?
Yeah, so after the Illinois delegate breakfast yesterday, I spoke with 2 union leaders in the state, and they say that they're basically turning their sights to surrounding states like Wisconsin and Michigan, since those are going to be the crucial swing states in this election. They're focusing on getting working class voters who tend to lean more conservative to try to get them to vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. Here's Tim Dre, who heads the state chapter of the AFL-CIO.
We're going to lay down for members the Biden-Harris agenda for the last 4 years and accomplishments, and put them up next to the Project 2025 blueprint. And it's like, take your pick, you know.
They also plan on using members from Illinois to make phone calls or have in-person conversations with members from Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So we know that the big national unions are putting a lot of money behind the Harris-Walz campaign in the hopes of reaching these workers in these key battleground states. But I guess my question now is, how will these members who are in these historically red or purple states and tend to vote more conservative actually vote in November? I guess we'll see.
That's reporter Mawa Iqbal at the United Center in Chicago, speaking with WBEZ's Melba Lara. There's more live special coverage from NPR coming tonight at 8 on day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. You can listen on 89.1 FM or stream on WGLT.org or the NPR app, and you can follow all of the action on NPR's live blog. You can find a link to that on our homepage. And before we let you go, the Unit 5 and District 87 school boards are both meeting tonight separately at 6:30. Unit 5 will hear a presentation on the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget. District 87 will get an update on the Oakland Avenue building project. You can hear full coverage tomorrow on Morning Edition. That's it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. The show is produced, as always, by Rosalie Truback. You can subscribe to the Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.